Very good morning, everyone. Very good morning, everyone. We have completed in the last class till Council of Minister and written the article number 163 and 64. Okay. We will start in the today's class Office of Governor or Powers of Governor, and thereafter Administration of Union Territories. These are the two portions which are left. Please confirm one thing. Have we written about powers of Speaker at the Parliament level? If not, then that is also a small area to be covered. It can help us to answer a PYQ also, because there was a question regarding discuss the role of Vice President as a Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So whatever are the functions of Speaker with respect to Lok Sabha, very similar functions are also done by the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, except 2 or 3 points. So we will make a small summary of those points so that we can easily answer these kind of questions. Starting with the first part, that is pending one, powers of Governor. We have made a list of articles yesterday. Fine. Out of that, these two powers are the most relevant one right now: summon, prorogue, and dissolution. This is one. Another is this article for this one. Discretion of Governor. These are the 3 portions. But of this article, we may have written that 174. Now, in general, the Governor will exercise that power of summon and prorogue on the aid and advice of Council of Minister. And by using this, he can summon or prorogue either house of the state legislature. So usually the Council of Minister will advise and then the Governor will perform these functions. However, in recent year, for 2 states there has been an issue observed. One of them was state of Punjab, where 2023, and another one is the state of West Bengal, 2024. Regarding this article 174, instances have occurred. In state of Punjab, the Speaker has summoned because their last session was declared adjourned signed by. So if it is adjournment signed by, presiding officer or Speaker has a power to summon the proceedings. However, in case of West Bengal, their last session was prorogued, and therefore, if the session is prorogued,
Governor has to.
So then Governor is supposed to summon, because Governor only do the prorogue and Governor only will summon in such cases. Here in Punjab, the Speaker has done adjournment signed by, and because of this, he is having authority. Adjournment signed by is done under the rules rather than Constitution. So within this 2023, when the Punjab Assembly Speaker has summoned the Assembly, during this, the Punjab Assembly passed 4 bills. And these bills are referred to the Governor. Session was invalid, and because the session was invalid, I am not under obligation to give assent to these bills. This is an official reply. Taking this reply as a basis, Punjab versus Office of Governor of Punjab. Office of Governor of Punjab. We can refer it as a Punjab government versus Punjab governor. That's also a way of remembering it out. And in this particular case, the Supreme Court declared this session was constitutionally valid, and as per court, Governor cannot cast doubts about validity of session, and declared the session valid, and then asked the Governor governor that now you exercise your power as per article number 200. That is the concern. So this session is valid and you are not supposed to raise a doubt about the validity of the session. Plus, within this case, regarding article 200 also certain observations have been made by the Supreme Court. And those observations are what? That governor of a state cannot use constitutional language to stall the enactment of bills. Enactment of a bill or a term, passage of a law. Not use constitutional language with the objective to stop the legislative business. Prescribe the time limit upon the governor. Same as they are using constitutional language as a surplusage. Surplusage to keep the bill pending for an indefinite period. Because time limit in how many days, how many months, how many years, the governor has to give his assent. As a result, because there is no time limit, I am keeping the bill pending with me. So I am not violating any constitutional provision. That is as per governor, but court is going in the against this direction. You can't use the constitutional language as a surplusage. Surplusage is here for your advantage. You have to use it for public advantage. But whom you are using? Your own advantage and interfering in the entire legislative business. Plus, within the article 200, there is a term as soon as possible. This as soon as possible is very significant because it gives a constitutional imperative for expedition. Means as a governor, you are not supposed to adopt delay tactics. When the bills are coming to your office, you can either declare I am giving assent, you can declare I am withholding assent, and if you declare I am withholding assent, after that you can't keep the bill with you. Then what he is supposed to do? He is supposed to return the bill to the state. That means even if I do withhold, after that also the bill does not come to an end. The bill has to be returned back also to the state assembly. Then what if the state assembly repasses the bill?
Keep the assent compulsory.
Is it? As per center, the governor shall not withhold the bill. That means with this one, we can even add the understanding of this article. So that once what is written here and what is the judgment coming with respect to this power will become more easy to relate. For the time being, think about the first point. Who has to summon or prorogue you?
Governor.
On the aid and advice of?
Council of Ministers.
But if the last session was, then who can summon?
Speaker.
So in Punjab, summoned by Speaker, but the governor said session was invalid. So one question got raised. Was the session valid or invalid? This question clarified by the court in this case. And what court said? You can't raise the validity of the session, and court declared the session as valid. That means one question solved by the court. Second question was with respect to assent to a bill, and for that purpose court is making these observations. So before we go into these observations in more detail, let us also very briefly bring into discussion what you can do under article 200, so that this language will become more appropriate in terms of relation and application in the constitutional democracy. For that purpose, article 200, it states when a bill is passed by the state legislature and it is presented to governor, governor shall declare. This is the language. Governor shall declare. What is supposed to declare? One, he assent to bill. So he is basically giving assent to bill. Second, he withhold his assent to bill. So from there, he is just holding the bill with himself, not going to pass, not going to reject, and is going to declare that I withhold. I refuse to give assent. That is the literal meaning of the word withhold from the UK's point of view. But it does not mean I am going to reject that bill and bill will lapse. Bill does not lapse. Because if I reject, it should end. Like America, presidential form of democracy. If they withhold, technically that rejects and bill comes to an end. Here it does not come to an end. Because it is not the Potomac. It is the Thames which fertilizes the flow of Yamuna. So that's a contextual statement and can be given with respect to either presidential power or either with the governor's power. Statement is this: it is not the Potomac, but Thames fertilizes
With Yamuna.
the flow of Yamuna. So polity question, geography question, or agriculture? That's what the concern sometimes can be created. That's why quotations can play this role. It is not the Potomac, but the Thames which fertilizes the flow of Yamuna. That's a statement used in the context of presidential versus parliamentary democracy. Potomac is a river of US. They have a presidential form of democracy. The other one,
Thames.
UK, and the R's.
Yamuna.
Here we have parliamentary,
Parliament.
and that is presidential. So can we reject the bill? That's what the question is all about. Because if we can reject the bill, we are technically following what?
Potomac. US.
US. So do we have a presidential form of democracy?
No.
No. That's why again and again, please remember this. Withhold does not mean rejection. Withhold only means I'm not giving assent, because that is what diplomacy is. It is presidential form of American government where the withhold amounts to rejection, and that brings an end towards the bill. And that's why they give time limit. You have 10 days to decide. In 10 days you decide to reject, that is fine. If you do not say a word, after 10 days the bill is passed. We don't have that system. Unless and until the assent is given, the bill does not become an act. And that's why that is the language which will be simply observable through this. So he has to declare that he withhold his assent to the bill. And then third option is having reserve the bill for president. This is also part of original constitution, these three. All these three are part of original constitution for governor of a state. And the fourth option was added by 44th Amendment Act. And that says, if it is not a money bill, that's why money bill he can't apply. So if it is not a money bill, as soon as possible, governor return the bill for reconsideration. As soon as possible, the governor return the bill for reconsideration. And thereafter, what will happen? If the House is going to pass the bill again, then the language of the BARE Act is the governor shall not withhold the assent therefrom.
Oh.
That's the language of BARE Act. As soon as possible, if not a money bill, governor return the bill for reconsideration of the House. If the House passes the bill again, governor shall not withhold the assent therefrom. So after reconsideration, you can't say I'm not going to give assent and keep the bill with you. That's not supposed to be done. What is done at the center? What president do in this case? It becomes obligatory upon the president to give assent. That is the language we have utilized, because president usually have this option, first option, and the second option. So already you have replied or returned it back to the House. House is passing the bill again, and president cannot apply withhold. So what he can do? Assent to a bill. That was the interpretation, and that is what is the language we have written. That if a bill has been returned by the president for reconsideration of the parliament, and parliament repasses the bill, it becomes obligatory upon the president to give assent. Why? Because there also the language is this: the president shall not withhold the assent therefrom. And that is the meaning here, because president have three only: give assent, withhold assent, or return. And that's why once you have applied suspensive veto, then president shall not withhold the bill therefrom. That's why it becomes obligatory to give his assent. Now here the governor has these four options. So what governors are doing in certain states: West Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and then also Punjab. In all these five states, the governors between 2020 to 23, more than 2 years, more than 3 years, the bills were pending. Why? Because there is no time limit. That is what the problem of Article 200, that there is no time limit given. So technically, as a governor, what I'm doing? I'm using constitutional power in order to deny you the process of legislation, and that is what is here observed by the court in the very first statement. Governor shall not use constitutional power to stall the enactment of bills. We are doing the same. Then court further said, you cannot use constitutional language as a surplusage for keeping the bill pending for indefinite period because the constitution does not prescribe the time limit to take these decisions. That's why you are again making a misuse of constitutional language for your benefit rather than the public benefit. Plus, what is this expression?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. What is the meaning?
Jalt se jalt.
That's what simple thought process. That as soon as possible means as quickly as possible. You are supposed to take a decision. How quickly you can take? 3 years ho gaya. You are not even responded on the bill. Is it? So if you do this kind of activity by keeping the bill pending for an indefinite period, you are keeping the bill pending for an indefinite period, it goes against this constitutional imperative for expedition, which comes from the word as soon as possible. So imagine as a governor, I am not even responding what I am going to do with your bills. You are the state government, you have won by record margin. You may have 80% of the MLAs in the state assembly. You are passing a bill to implement your promises. And what I am doing as a governor in your bills? Not even responding. What is the purpose of parliamentary democracy? Governor is not the real executive. Elected representative are the real executive. And that's why they cannot implement a policy in an arbitrary manner. That's why they need a legal support. So legal support will come through law, the bill, and what I'm doing as a governor with your bills, keeping them pending for an indefinite period. I'm technically denying you your policies and the programs. And that is where, as a governor, I'm violating the constitutional provision. And reason, there is no time limit, so you also can't say I'm violating. So what I'm doing is, I'm using the constitutional language as a surplusage for myself, not for you, not for the people. And that is where the misuse of the power of governor has taken place. And because of these reasons only, in the territories like state of West Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Punjab, in all these opposition ruled states, there have been confrontation. It is also true there is a politicization of a matter as well. Because majority of these bills are replacing the chancellor of the state university. That is also a fact. If there are around 12 bills passed in Tamil Nadu, 8 are dealing with state universities. If in Punjab there has been 4 bills, 2 are dealing with state universities to replace the governor by the CM as the chancellor of those universities. This innovative idea was brought by UP at the time period of Samajwadi Party government. There was a medical college in the state. They upgraded the medical college to a status of a university. And when they were upgrading it, by the law has to be passed. So within that law, they said CM will be the chancellor. So if UP CM can be the chancellor of that university, why can't the Tamil Nadu CM, Punjab CM, Kerala CM? That time also the governor of that state has kept the bill pending for 1 year, 2 years. But somehow some informal interaction have happened and an approval has been given for that bill. So that nothing is official for that purpose. That's why an informal discussion may have happened and that approval have been given. So that is technically a past thing. Thereafter, in the state of West Bengal, the recent dispute started from here. The current vice president was earlier the governor of this state. So here they introduced this mechanism to replace the governor by the CM as a chancellor of these universities. Let us assume one thing. It is good for these universities to make CM as the chancellor. Let's assume this one. Nothing wrong. They are winning. Let's say this way. We can also reflect the same provision at the center. PM for IITs, IIMs, and all the central universities. Because what is good for state should also be good for, or will it be bad for center? Think about it. Be neutral. If it is good for state, then it is also good for center. Or if it is bad for center, then how it is good for state? Why the governors were made the chancellor of these universities? So that these universities can stay away from active politics. They can be instrument of constructive discussion, dissent, can criticize the government with constructive solutions. We are criticizing, but we have a possible solution for that policy. They can become an institution of academic research. But if they become an instrument of politics, do you think you can criticize the state government at that level? It will be difficult for these universities also to even have a dissent from the ruling party of the state. That was the objective of making the president as the governor as a chancellor there and nominal head at the central level for those central universities for this purpose. So that they can remain out of the system, they can work as an autonomous institution, and they will be appointed, regulated under the provisions of the statute under which they have been created. But now what we are observing is it is becoming a regular pattern in usually opposition rule state. Otherwise, they should also be done by Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Then they should also pass this kind of provision, and at the center also you can have this. Because you can't use two standards. One for state that yes, CM should be the chancellor, and at center the PM should not be the chancellor. Because if we are using this, we are somewhere getting biased towards the political system and not remaining neutral for this perspective. That's why the first thought process was what is doing is good. Let's say this is good, but then think about the alternative. It's that way. So it is more about the confrontational politics which we are using with respect to this provision. And because of this, what happened? Even if 8 bills are related to state university, but imagine there are other bills also which are related to Prevention of Corruption Act. There's a bill related to even the Ayurveda University. They wanted to create even an Ayurveda University in the state. Even that will also get pending because of this issue. Because all the bills have been passed as a group. They all have been kept on pending. Kerala also around 8 bills they have passed. Out of 8, even 4 or 5 are dealing with their state university. They also wanted to create public health safety bill. This is also becoming pending. However, health sector is also part of their mechanism. And then recently the center was coming up with UGC guidelines. So the same states are opposing those UGC guidelines as well. This is how the confrontation will happen. Yeah, that is a pure politicization of this thing. And in that case, who got adversely involved is this office. Because via him only this interference is all possible. And that's the reason in the recent time, this veto powers are becoming more challenging. And for that only this judgment is relevant. So as per this judgment, the governor is not supposed to keep the bill pending for an indefinite period. And that's why if you do this, it goes against this constitutional imperative of as soon as possible. Plus, it is also suggested, governor cannot virtually veto. Governor cannot virtually veto by simply declaring that assent is withheld without any further course of action. Governor is not allowed or governor cannot virtually veto the entire bill by declaring that assent is withheld without any further course of action. So if it is withheld, it should stay with governor. That's what the purpose of withheld. But here the court said the governor as a guiding statesman. The governor as a guiding statesman may recommend the entire bill for reconsideration or any part of the bill for reconsideration. You are a knowledgeable person as a governor, an experienced person. यहाँ इतना डांट मार दिया है, so some appreciation words are equally relevant. That's why this is coming at that language, because here everything is going negative. You are keeping it pending. You are misusing for yourself. You are even not taking any decision. It is going against constitution, and you are simply declaring the bill is withheld, which amounts to a technical virtual veto concept in case of our democracy. And therefore, you are a guiding statesman. So as a guiding statesman, you may recommend the entire bill for reconsideration or any part of the bill. However, if the bill is passed again, or not the bill passed, if the assembly approves or accepts your advice or not, that is the ultimate decision of the assembly. Means you can do what? You make your suggestion, but ultimate authority to follow your suggestion or not depends upon legislature. So they may or may not accept your suggestions. That's a concept. Means you can give suggestion, but don't expect anything in return. That it is going to be changed or they will react as per your suggestion. Because ultimate option is in the hands of legislature. And if you keep these matters pending for an indefinite period, or you simply declare, I virtually withhold this one, and after that you do not take any further course of action, it goes against constitutional democracy. working on parliamentary form of government. That has been the wordings used in this judgment. That's why was statement why was using. It is not the Potomac, but the Thames, which fertilizes the flow of Yamuna. So if you even declare I withhold, what are you supposed to do? You just after that can't keep the bill with you. Because if you do this, it amounts to violation of constitutional democracy based upon parliamentary pattern of governance. Therefore, you may act like this. A guiding statesman and return this bill. And this was a judgment in 2023 for Punjab case. After this judgment, the other states also got motivation. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, they also approached to Supreme Court. October, November or December, these two states have also approached. And then when they approach, so the governor of these states, we cannot directly summon the governor because governor is exempted from the rule of law. Governor cannot be questioned for any official decisions as well. That's why who was summoned? Bureaucracy was summoned, not the nominal head of the state. क्या हो रहा है आपके ऑफिस में? Is that philosophy? That's why office of governor has been summoned. So office of governor of Kerala, office of governor of Tamil Nadu have been summoned after these two governments have approached to the Supreme Court. When they have approached and the governor has been represented by the Attorney General of India, so court have asked them, you read our judgment of 2023 and act accordingly. Think about it. You read our judgment of 2023 and act accordingly, because as per court, we have done everything. Is it? What we have done, you cannot declare withhold, and if you declare withhold, uske baad you can't keep the bill with you. You are supposed to return further course of action. And when it is passed, after that, what is the language? So supposed to give the assent. Technically, we have ended the difference between withhold and suspensive veto. Pocket veto and suspensive veto difference has been virtually ended by us through this judgment. So we are expecting now the problem will solve. Tamil Nadu governor read the judgment most carefully. That's the problem. What he has done, he analyzed this entire judgment to the best of his capability, and as a result, what he has done, he found this loophole. That is the loophole here. We have returned the bill. You have repassed the bill. Now, governor shall not withhold. But can governor reserve? Oh. That's what he did. That's what he has done. Because after this judgment, when these states have approached to Supreme Court, so court said, you please go through our judgment of 2023 and act accordingly. You cannot stop the entire legislative process. And therefore, after that, initially what they did, they return all those bills. One or two bills they declare we are withholding, and rest of the bill they have returned. So now, after that, they also got a time to even read in more detail, and then they analyze it properly. That whatever bill they have returned has been repassed by the state assembly. Tamil Nadu assembly has repassed the same bill. After that, what is expected from the governor? Shall he resist it? What he has done, he resolved for the president. It means he is the only governor who read it more carefully. 2023 judgment. And thereafter, that thing has been again challenged by Tamil Nadu in the Supreme Court, which was in the news 2 or 3 weeks back. Around 3 weeks back, that was there. Last hearing, judgment has not been given. Because argument as per state government is, it is unconstitutional to reserve the bill for president after reconsideration. If you have to reserve the bill, reserve it directly. But what they have done, they first applied suspensive veto. When we have passed the bill, they have just reserved it for consideration of president. And that's why, as per state government, this is unconstitutional, and technically it violates the established conventions also. Because when it is suspensive, you are supposed to after that give assent to such bill. But he has reserved for the president. And that's why when the last decision has been pending, but in the arguments it was raised by the AGI, because court was also very tough on that issue, that see, how can you do this? So then the AGI only have requested this question very politely, has the governor acted beyond his jurisdiction? For which court was also not having answer. Court said that we will decide, the decision is reserved and we'll discuss it on the next stage. Because that's what the problem, it is convention part. It has created a convention that he's supposed to give assent. But that is what the problem with this entire procedure, and isn't it, it is taking us to this points too only. Governor cannot use constitutional language to stall the process of lawmaking. And the constitutional language is not a surplusage for governor. But this is what has been done by the governor of Tamil Nadu after reading this judgment very carefully, that he, instead of means giving assent, he has reserved this bill for the consideration of the President of India, and that decision is pending. So in the coming weeks or coming months, whenever this judgment will come, you please add that type of points in the notes, so that what we are writing is as per the current case, as per the current situation, and after that we'll be leaving a half page or one page to update the judgment from the Tamil Nadu case with respect to Office of Governor, so that everything can be at one particular sequence. Hope we can simplify now this veto power thing, because that's the most problematic power in the recent times. It's creating so much of confrontation and becoming an instrument of politics now. And why this happened? It all happened because of the position of governor, which is designed in such a way. The position of the governor, think about the statement for governor. The office of governor is like a full moon in a daylight. Comment. 10 marks. That is the basic concern with this office. This office is like a full moon in a daylight, and that type of statement can be created for this office. So technically, what is the relevance of a full moon in a daylight? During daytime, 2 days back also was a full moon. अभी recent में ही गया है पूर्णिमा. So full moon was there, and during daytime also the full moon is visible. But that's of no relevance. Full moon will be more suitable for the challenging time or the darkness. That is what is the role of governor. Governor as head of the state, and discretion of governor or representative of center in state. That's a possible way. So sometimes representative become agent also. That's a wrong. The power and function are designed in such a way that during the daytime or normal circumstances, what he's supposed to do? He's supposed to work on the aid and advice of Council of Minister. Imagine these articles 154, 163, 166 and 167. These 4 articles. Executive powers of the state vested in the governor. They are supposed to be exercised on the aid and advice of Council of Minister. Every work will be done in the name of governor. 166. And it is the duty of the CM to keep the governor informed. That is from 167. We already have that 4 articles in the yesterday's list. Yes or no? Their expressions are more surprising. It's like I'm telling something new. No reading, no confusion. That's what is visible right now. Right? That's why I asked in the beginning, that reading without confusion, that is perfectly fine. So these all 4 are there. This is executive power of the governor or a state, aid and advice of the Council of Minister. Governor is a nominal head, because in the name of governor we take the decision. And real decision making power is the Council of Minister. That's why CM has to inform. So these 4 articles can simply suggest us that governor is supposed to follow as per advice of the Council of Minister. However, when there is a challenging time or darkness, only that point of time the governor is supposed to use his discretion. And that's why if you have a hung assembly in the state, he will use his discretion to appoint the CM. There may be a coalition government in the state, and due to defection, the government may have collapsed. So he will use his discretion for floor test, that you prove your majority on the floor of the house, otherwise we will declare the president rule within the state. So he is using his discretion for that purpose. One such incident, I tell you this way, it was state of Karnataka, S.R. Bommai versus Union of India, 1994. S.R. Bommai was the CM of the state, and from his party around 19 MLAs, their letter reached to the governor that we are withdrawing our support from the government. It's like defection. That was an era when the CM used to go for the governor's office with his MLAs for the head count. That was the way of proving majority. Floor test वगैरह nothing is conducted in that way. So we have the number and we are going to the office of governor. It's like a parade before the governor, and the head count will be done by the governor, how many members. And that was an era without photo ID cards. किसी को भी ले जाओ क्या पता चलेगा. That's also a possibility. So that's the reason why this kind of formalities were there. Now this 19 letter reached to governor. We withdraw the support. When the CM came to know that this is happening because governor said that you don't have the number, you are supposed to prove majority. So he said he contacted them. They said we have not signed. We don't have signed on any paper. That means now another issue may come, forgery. Jali sign ho gaya hai, or it's a conspiracy. They may be denying. So as a result, governor was asking him that you can prove your majority. He said I need 7 days. Governor said only tomorrow. Tomorrow you have to prove majority. He was demanding 7 days. Finally he said he got ready. Okay, I'll prove tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm ready to face this confidence motion as well. Governor did not wait even till tomorrow. Today only the governor recommended in the evening president rule in the state. And president rule was implemented in the state. Without a flow test, without a head count. Then S.R. Bombay approached to Supreme Court and he raised 2 questions there. Is Article 356 subject to judicial review or not? First. Second, what if it is misused, what is the remedy? These are the 2 things. And it's a substantial question of law. So the decision came later only. And when the decision came, it was said by the Supreme Court, Article 356 is subject to judicial review. That is one. Second, without flow test, you cannot recommend Article 356. That means flow test became a rule from this judgment. S.R. Bombay case. It's like a milestone judgment for flow test or confidence motion. Just like for basic structure doctrine, you have the Keshwan and Bharti case. For Article 356, it became a milestone case, S.R. Bombay versus Union of India. And therefore, if we identify Article 356 was wrongly imposed, we have authority to reinstate the conditions which were prevailing before Article 356. Do we remember Nabam Tuki?
Yes.
And Nabam Rebia? Nabam Tuki was the CM and Nabam Rebia was the Speaker of the State Assembly. Nabam Tuki government was not given opportunity for the flow test. It was like flow test was called tomorrow and today Speaker disqualified those defection one MLAs and taken this as a base, governor recommended the president rule without flow test. So that president rule was declared unconstitutional by Supreme Court on the basis no flow test was conducted. Because this has been made a mandatory provision from
S.R. Bombay.
So in case of defection and collapse of the coalition politics, it is mandatory to conduct flow test. Only after that we are able to recommend president rule. So that the CM will not go to court and challenge that I was not given opportunity of flow test. That's the purpose. And this is one of the reasons why in Nabam Tuki versus Union of India case, it was also declared that it was unconstitutional. So this kind of power will come under discretion of governor, and that's why this type of statement, office of governor is like a full moon in a day, right? So it is basically because governor has to play dual role, head of the state and discretionary power or representative of center in the state. If he make a misuse of this power, he is often criticized by the politicians as agent of the sector. We will not use agent in the conclusion. We will use the term governor violate constitutional morality. That is administrative and the judicial language. This is political language. Please remember, selection of the word is very important in the terms of presentation and expression of opinion. We all have freedom of speech and expression. Use it wisely, without defaming and reasonable restriction as well. And this is that reasonable restriction, violation of constitutional morality. Politicians can say this. Let them say. We will not. Administrative language go in this direction, not here. See, it's a derogatory term or negative one, agent of the center, that is politicians are able to utilize. We will use this. Violation of constitutional morality. Let's make a brief organized note starting from here. As the first heading, summon, prorogue and dissolution. Summon, prorogue and dissolution. Please write. Under Article 174, governor of a state may summon or prorogue. Governor of a state may summon or prorogue either or both the houses either or both the houses of state legislature and dissolve legislative assembly. These are exercised on the aid and advice of. Council of Ministers. However, in recent years, it resulted into the following controversies. Or disputes. First one. In 2023, Punjab Speaker summoned the State Assembly. In 2023, Punjab Speaker summoned the State Assembly as the last session was declared adjournment signed diet. Last session was declared adjournment signed diet by the Speaker. During such session, four bills were passed. But governor refused to act on the bills. By declaring the session invalid. Change the paragraph. Supreme Court in Government of Punjab versus Office of Governor of Punjab. Government of Punjab versus Office of Governor of Punjab 2023 declared the session constitutionally valid. And also said governor cannot cast doubts about validity of a session. Second point. In 2024, West Bengal government advised the governor to summon state legislature. However, the governor did not summon. The Speaker of the Assembly summoned the session. And oath was conducted for newly elected MLAs. Speaker summoned the session and oath was conducted for newly elected MLAs in bracket by elections. Close the bracket. It goes against the constitutional provision. the last session was prorogued. It goes against constitutional provision as the last session was prorogued and the new session to be summoned by governor rather than speaker. Last session was prorogued and the new session to be summoned by governor rather than the speaker. It raises two concerns. First, oath of MLAs shall be conducted by governor. First one, oath of MLAs shall be conducted by governor or a person authorized by governor. Oath of MLAs shall be conducted by governor or a person authorized by governor. And second subpoint, if MLA attend the house proceedings, without oath, they are subject to penalty. Up to 500 rupee per sitting. They are subject to penalty up to 500 rupee per sitting to be collected as a debt to the state. That's it. This is the problem with this entire mechanism. Because what if as a governor I become now rigid and declare that your oath was invalid? Why? Because who is authorized to conduct oath? Governor. Otherwise, I will appoint somebody to conduct this oath. I can ask speaker to conduct oath on my behalf. That is all possible. But here the session has been called by the speaker only. And that's why this is violation on part of a speaker and also constitutional morality violation on the part of a governor, because I don't have a discretion not to call the session. If the gap exceeds more than 6 months, then only you have a discretion. Otherwise, government have a clear majority in the house. They are advising you to summon, you should summon. You're not supposed to delay or deny. And there was some unnecessary dispute, verbal dispute happened between the two. It's like someone was recommended by the Council of Ministers. Governor was of the view that you have to conduct on the oath. For that purpose, they can even visit governor's office and the oath can be conducted. Then the CM has made a statement that the members are not feeling safe to go to governor's office. And one of was a women member as well. Now, technically, it's a character assassination which has been emerging in this way. And therefore, the governor obviously took it on ego. Obsession enabled offer. He hasn't even someone. These both are unparliamentary behavior. And violation of constitutional morality, even on the part of governor only, means why are you giving advice? You are supposed to take advice. Is it? That's what the concern. You are supposed to take advice rather than give advice. They have the real power. They will decide to session to be called for even 15 minutes. It is their mockery, not yours. That's a concern. They can even call for 15 minutes. That is their mockery, not the governor's one. Because governor is just a nominal head of the state. And they are the one to decide over such matter, 1 day session, 2 day session, 1 week session. What if tomorrow they start declaring adjournment sign die for every next session? The successful Delhi model of this way. Delhi government out of 10 years, 9 years our session was adjournment sign die. 9 years. Our speaker never go to LG because of the confrontation between these political systems. Only one session is called after general election, that is by the LG, and after that, every time the session was only adjournment sign die. And that's why this successful model was applied in Punjab. Party to same hai. First they experimented here, Delhi, then they implemented it in Punjab. What if tomorrow all the states will start doing it? That only the very first session after general election to be summoned by government, and thereafter we keep on declaring adjournment. That's a misuse of a provision. That will also violate constitutional morality, because every year, otherwise what governor will do? Governor also have this official function, and we should have a respect for each other despite having the political differences. That's what morality teaches. That's what constitutional language tells them. But this is a both thing which have gone beyond the provision of constitution by both. When speaker was asked this question that how can you summon, it is the power of governor. He said everything cannot be left upon governor. Right? Everything cannot be left on governor. Sometimes we have to take responsibility for the conduct of the government. So he took extra responsibility which is not even given in constitutional provision, and that's why it's unconstitutional with that type of situation. But still, we will use the term constitutional morality violation, or it can be overreach by speaker. Overreach is also a very administrative terminology to be used, that it is an overreach of power by the Speaker of the West Bengal Assembly. Yes. When the House is adjourned, sign, right? Okay.